Okay, so earlier in our class, we learned how to trace shapes, and we created these waves in the ship and the heart. And we're going to use the ship and the waves and create a short little animation just to get a sense of movement and use what we traced, because we'll be doing something like this for our Star of India project. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to make sure that the ship is all grouped together. You could select all your individual parts and go Object Group if you haven't yet. And then this, the waves, I'm going to make sure I ungroup it now. I grouped them before, and I'm going to ungroup them so that each part is separated, okay? And that's important. So first thing we're going to do is let's just start with the ship. I think that's the easiest. So we'll go Edit, Copy, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go into Animate. And so I've opened up Animate, and we're going to set our document at this size, 1280 by 720, and the frame rate's 30 frames per second. And there's a Create button over here, and it's my screen's a little minimized, so you can barely see it. But here we go. We'll have our document set up. Let me zoom out to fit into window. Okay, maybe even less than that. Let's go 50%. That's good. Okay, now my library and properties windows are over here. So you have properties, and again, you could see the size of your and frame rate of your document, and library if you have any items. Once we start putting things in, the game will populate that. Okay, so now we've already copied our ship. So now we're just going to edit and paste it. Let's just paste it in the center. Sure, and make sure you uncheck Maintain Layers. Uncheck that. Okay, and then we hit OK, and there we have it. And now if you notice, I'm using this tool here, the Free Transform tool. The arrows could just move things around, but the Free Transform tool, you can now, if you hold Shift, you could scale it up perfectly. Okay, and so now we have the ship. And so now I'm going to double click here, and we're going to write ship, okay, because we need to keep things organized. So let's go back to Illustrator. And I have already separated these waves. Some of you might decide to do something like this. You might decide that I want a lot of wave texture, so you could copy and paste this and kind of duplicate it so you have a lot of ripples in the waves, and that might be a good look for you. I'm going to keep this one simple and just copy the front wave at its normal size. I'm going to say Edit, Copy, and because this is going to be a pretty quick animation. And I'm going to say, come in here, and we're going to paste it now. So Edit, Paste. That doesn't matter, just paste in the center. And uncheck Maintain Layers. Hit OK. And you can see our wave's pretty small. I'm going to resize it, and I'm not going to hold Shift this time. I'm going to just go ahead and resize it just kind of by eye. And I want it to go off the screen a little bit. And I'm going to drag it down into place. And you can see that it's in front of the ship. That's good. And you need to make sure you cover up the white, because it wouldn't just be random white in the ocean like that, unless it's, I guess, some kind of foam. But we don't want to do that. Okay, so now we'll go back to Illustrator and get the other waves. So let me zoom in a bit. And so I can get the middle wave. Click off, select that, Edit, Copy. Okay, let's go into Animate and make a new layer. And go Edit, Paste. Okay, uncheck Maintain Layers, hit OK. Let's make this one bigger. Okay, like that. And we'll organize that in a moment. I'm going to go to this one and go Edit, Copy again, and once again Edit, Paste. After we make a new layer, Edit, Paste. Edit, Paste, where are we at? Okay, uncheck Maintain Layers. And let's go ahead and do this. Okay, now let's go wave light. Okay, wait, what happened? Special. Oh, you can't do a space in there. That's all that warning was. So wave medium, wave M, and then wave dark. And what I want to do now is I'm going to drag the wave dark below the ship layer so that it's behind the ship now. And I'm going to resize my, I'm just going to move this down a bit. No, actually I think I need to widen that out a bit and widen this out a bit. It might be better to go a little smaller. And then I'm going to make the ship bigger just because. And there you have it. Okay, so now, great, let's make things move. Oh, one thing that doesn't look right. I think wave light should be at the top. There we go. And that looks a little better. And you might even want to play around with moving the ship in front of the second wave or not. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to make this, let me just pick a number. We're going to make this 5 seconds long. And you can see on the timeline, it says at 30 frames, that's 1 second. And then 2 seconds, that's what the little S stands for. So at, let's skip all the way till we go to 5 seconds. So that's 150 frames. I'm going to just simply right click and say insert frame. And we're going to do some motion tweening real quick. With the ship, we can do whatever we want. We're going to right click here and we're going to say create motion tween. And we're going to say okay. And before I do that, let me show you something. Window, library. Okay, I've got nothing in the library. Now when I create a motion tween, and it's going to say create a symbol, and yes. And there you have a symbol now, and it's the ship, okay? So you can see what happened there. And then about halfway through the movie, I'm going to come click on that layer, and I'm just going to simply move the ship up and maybe rotate it. With this transform tool, you can go right outside the corner and rotate it a bit. And let me drop it down because you can see a little bit. I'm using the arrow keys on the keyboard. And then I'll go to the end now. And let's just kind of rotate it back and move it up. And let's say control test and see what happens there. And so the boat's kind of moving a little bit. Not bad. And now let's do that with the waves. Okay, so we could do each wave individually. I'm going to lock all the layers except for this layer. Right click and say create motion tween. Okay. And about halfway, I'm going to I'm using the arrow keys on my keyboard, okay? And I'll move that there and go to the end and move that back. And let's do the same thing for the other layers now. And I think we'll have it. Create motion tween. Okay. And let's just move the waves the other way just to see what kind of effect we get if they go a little crazy and make them go all different directions. I have no idea how it's going to turn out, but we're going for it. Okay, and then the last one, we'll right click and say create motion tween, hit OK, and let's just make this one move. You could even resize it. Let's see what happens if you resize the wave a little bit in the motion tween. Yeah, it kind of works. Okay, and then let's shrink it back down a tad and move it back over this way. Okay, and let's see what we got. So control test. So our ship and waves are moving. Might be a little slow. Maybe that's a calm day, and you could play around with it and speed that up. Let me minimize the size of this so you could actually see the whole deal on there. And if you wanted to, you could actually move the ship across the screen. It's the last thing I'll do before I turn this off. So let's start at the first frame, and I'm going to use the arrow keys on the keyboard, move them here, and then at the last frame, he's going to be moving kind of fast because it's only taking 5 seconds to get across. So let's go control test and see how that looks. And there he goes, sailing across. Okay, so go ahead and animate that, play around with your waves, make them move faster, or make it a rockier ride or a smoother ride, and have fun.